Okay, hello everyone. We are here with how to play Starcraft, the unit guide. So this guide is designed to go through, although this is a new series of guides I'll be doing, which will be going through every single unit and building in Starcraft to go over what they are, what they do, what are some of the key points for units, to be some of the upgrades, the strengths, and the weaknesses. And today's unit will be the Zealot. So let's to start. Okay, so this is the Zealot. I'm gonna zoom in, you can see him. Okay, a Zealot is the basic unit for Protoss. It is a Templar warrior, and he has a couple of side blades. Let's see it, a couple of side blades on his arm. This is generally what it looks like. There are some skins for a few additional things, but that is beside the point. Okay, so next thing we're going to talk about is where does a Zealot come from, or how do you make a Zealot? Okay, let's get a probe. Okay, so to get a Zealot, first thing we're going to do is we're going to need a gateway. Now, in this particular mod, things build a lot quickly and you get some additional options, and here is the Zealot. Now, all the other options you see here, you will not be able to get until you build a cyber core. For the gateway itself, there'll be a separate video, and that's how you build the Zealot. Of course, it's got a build time of 27 seconds. Okay. In addition to that, once you get the cybernetics core and you research warp gate, you can then warp in Zealots anywhere that there is a pylon. Okay, I'll let that finish. Let this probe do its thing. Let that finish, so I can warp in a Zealot here. I can warp in a Zealot here. So use this one. And once this is ready, I'll be able to warp in a Zealot here. Now let's talk about the next set of things, which is the... Okay, yep, it's produced from a warp gate gateway. And I will talk about the upgrades. Now, the Zealot has one key upgrade that you need to purchase, and that upgrade is called Charge. I'm just going to leave those words up there. The name of the upgrade is Charge, and you get it at this building called the Twilight Council. The Twilight Council can only be built after you've gotten the Cybernetics core. It's the 3-piked building for the 3 upgrades. In addition to all of that, you can also get upgrades for the Zealots. Via the Forge, you can get +1, +2, and as you finish, yep, that'll be done. As I mentioned, you can also warp in Zealots from anywhere. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Charge. Let's clear the board. And we'll activate Charge just for the red side. So in terms of a demonstration, over here you can see the unit. So if I have 5 Zealots here with Charge, and I have 5 blue Zealots without Charge, we're just gonna let the AI attack and we're gonna see what they do. We're gonna let them fight. So you notice what happens with Charge is that the Zealot will close in on his target significantly faster. Now, normally in an even fight, you should have maybe one winning one way or the other, but this time the Zealots with Charge clearly defeated the Zealots without. Let's run this test one more time to make sure it's not a fluke. Yep, swipe, 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 swipe. Oh, another interesting thing about the Zealot is that it actually attacks twice, because it's got 2 swipes each, and again, red is victorious. So this is also really important for another reason, which is that, well, let's do another demonstration. Let's clear the board. No, in fact, let's just get rid of these guys. Let's say you have an actual scenario. You play against Terran. We'll get 2 Marauders. We'll add on 6 Marines. We're just gonna let them fight. Now, I'm actually gonna micro a little bit here. A bit unfair, but it proves the point. Okay, so we retreat backwards. Okay, we're taking shots. We're gonna try and cut them down as best we can. Okay, a little bit of micro effort here. Well, see, that's the thing. These guys can run pretty far away. Okay, I think they'll be able to just deal with this right here. And the Terrans win. Of course, if you just order them to attack, you'll see. Again, without any micro. Okay, Zealots are dumping a bit, but It should be a bit closer. In fact, Zeds should win all the time. Yep, the Zeds easily slice through it. But again, you play against a real opponent. Now, but let's take that scenario and do the exact same. Do the opposite. Let's clear the board. And this time we take 5 Zealots with, do I charge? Yep, with charge. And we go up against 2 Marauders and 6. Okay, so to make it fair, I'm gonna micro these units as well, but you'll see what happens. Like, I can't micro. They're being run down. Like, they just close the distance and the Zealots just chew through everything. Okay, so there's the difference between having charge and not having charge. So let's talk about some of the strengths of the Zealot. And the first key strength is that the Zealot is a mineral only unit. If you hover over this mod, you see that it costs only 100 minerals. Let's go to these guys. And this is gonna come into play late game because you can build like 8 of them. And let's say your enemy, you're gonna build a structure, build a CC, get a couple of these guys, get a few SCVs, add a mineral patch for realism. Start. Siege our tanks. Let's say it's an enemy base. You know, it's late game, it's a big fight. You just swap in 8 Zealots, and you just attack. Yeah. So this is a relatively cheap unit. Okay, this base is dead. Let's restart. Okay, so let's say you're not Terran. Let's get rid of all of this. Hold on. Get rid of this, get rid of this. Come over here. Let's say you're Zerg. You get a couple of queens. You get some roaches. A bunch of drones. Okay, we start. Okay, so the drones are happily mining. And the Zealots attack. So this is really good again in the later parts of the game. Once you have a lot of minerals that you're not spending, you can just make wave after wave after wave of Zealot, either via a pylon or warp prism, and you just run them into bases like this. Yep, this base is screwed. Okay, so that's one of the. Let's clear the board. Okay, so the other advantage. Another strength of the Zealot is that it can tank enemy fire. Now, to demonstrate this, what we're going to be doing is we're going to set up an experiment. So we're going to run switch charge off. We're going to have 2 Immortals, 2 Stalkers, and 5 Zealots. Let's make it 5 Zealots. 6 Zealots. And on the other side, we're going to go 2 Immortals, 2 Stalkers, and we're just going to fill up the rest of the minerals with Stalkers. Roughly this much. Now let's have 1 less Stalker. Okay, we're going to start. We're just going to click attack. Okay, they're jumping around a lot more than I wanted to. But watch, just watch. So if you're the idea that Stalkers, oh, let's forget these other use, let's just get Stalkers. It's a convincing victory. Now, but let's say it's a bit of a harder proposition. Let's say you're going up against Zerg. You know, the roach composition is pretty popular, so let's get 18. We're still gonna have 2. You know, it's roughly the same. And instead of having all these Zealots, we're gonna replace them with Stalkers. Slightly less Stalkers, 1 less, 2 less. Okay, so it's roughly the same amount of minerals and gas. You just click attack and we'll see what happens. Okay, the units dump, the roaches spread out, and they just jump right onto the Stalkers and the Immortals. And the Immortals are doing a lot of damage to the roaches. We'll get to Immortal and Stalkers in a future video. And we're seeing that the roaches are, well, they're losing, yes. Okay, let's run this one more time. Okay, again, I'm not going to do any micro for this particular experiment. The 2 armies are just going to I'm just gonna fight. Results might vary a bit depending on the AI and their conclave. Well, basically the AI and how they bunch up. Okay, looks like this time Zerg wins fairly convincingly. Okay, so that's roughly what it looked like. But if let's say we get rid of all the stalkers except 2 and replace the rest in the equivalent amount. Let's give a little bit more since they're using less gas. The rough equivalent amount in zealots, and we order them to attack. Let's see what happens this time. Okay, there's quite a bit of doping. They get through. So what the zealots actually do is they tank a lot of the damage for these other units to fire. So it looks like Protoss might actually, yeah, Protoss is gonna win. Let's run this experiment again. Again, no micro, no nothing. We're just gonna let them go at it. The zealots dump quite a lot. But they do provide a mutual, and more importantly, you're saving your gas, because as the game goes on, gas is far more important than minerals. Okay. See how this goes. I think Protoss might lose this time. No, Protoss still wins. Not as cleanly, but Protoss still wins. Okay, so that's a good... Okay, so what they do is they tank the enemy fire in that regard. And the other thing that they do, the other strikes is that they're good for early game defense. This is kind of by default. Let's clear the board again. And let's have one probe here and a Reaper. Okay, we'll just start. Okay, so let's say you build your Nexus, you have your probes. Then a Reaper comes out. Oh no! Okay, the Reaper's trying to get the probe, but again, if you have this Zealot, it's gonna be a lot harder. Yes, a bit of micro on both sides, but the Zealot holds the line. Okay, so again, it's still something that's robust enough that can deal with most rushes. Let's get 4, which is 100 minerals. Okay, you have your Nexus, you have your Pylon, you have your Gateway. Then you see some Zerglings coming in. Oh no! Yep, he holds the line. For Aya. Okay, so those are the strikes of the general strikes of the Zealots. Okay, but let's talk about, their weaknesses. So the first big weakness they have is that they can be kited. Now in that example you saw Zealots against that. You might have saw it a little bit with the Reaper, but it gets really obvious once you start getting to, let's say, a Stalker. So why there's so many? Okay, let's get rid of the legs. Start now. If you just attack, this is what happens. Okay, he reaches Zealot, reaches the Stalker. They're both taking damage. But then, if you actually just micro the Stalker is faster than the Zealot, so it could just kite it. Like, this is why you need speed. This is why, you don't see it in too many games. Yeah, and eventually it's just gonna kill see, the shields are even regenning. This is also true for the Reaper. We just click start, we just click attack. Yeah, the Zealot will kill the Reaper every single time. It's not even gonna be close. However, if I just do this, so even in that scenario, which is supposed to be a strength, okay, I messed up the micro, all it does is buy time. So as an even more stark example that I tried, now if we don't micro at all, of course the Zealot's gonna kill both Marines. I'm just gonna let him, show off his prowess, use his side blades. Okay, and dead. However, if you bother to micro even a little bit, yeah, the AI will just do this. Of course, you could micro the Zealot, change the target, and then then the other guy has to micro, and it's really difficult. But if you just take the baseline, who's it gonna chase? Uh-oh. Yeah, just do this. Eventually the Marine will kill the Zealot. Eventually. Okay, it's getting some swipes in. See, that's the thing. One Zealot, not really gonna do too much. Okay, sometimes he does. But you get the idea. So that's the, it can be kited, so you do need the upgrades, but in the early game that's gonna be something that's gonna be an issue. Now another big downside to the Zealot, even with charge, is area of effect damage. In fact, let's just turn on charge. Let's clear out these guys. Let's add, let's say we build later game that 5 of these guys. Protoss has something really powerful that'll just annihilate them, which is the Disruptor. Okay, messed up the shot. Yep, just like that, you know. Even with charge, a Disruptor will completely annihilate these Zealots. So if you're fighting, let's say, against Terran, and okay, get rid of the Disruptor, get several relatively cheap Widow Mines, attack. Yep, area of effect. Things that destroy things in a radius, Zealots don't do too well against those, even with charge. And if you're fighting against, God forbid, Zerg, and they go for these guys. Again, all these other units, Zerg, Terran, I will cover in future. Let's go for 6. I will cover in a future video, but again, even with charge against these unupgraded banelings, they take a lot of damage. Okay, they connect. Almost all of them gone. Yeah, they win the fight, but that's what banelings do. Okay, so the last disadvantage they have, and this is fairly obvious, is that they are no anti-air. So if your enemy has anything that flies and you have only Zealots, you're screwed. So let's have some mutas for Zerg. Yeah, it'll take a while, but the mutas will eventually kill everything on the ground. Likewise for Terran, let's say there's a Banshee, and for Protoss a Void Ray. Let's take these guys out. Yeah, these guys will eventually kill everything because they have no, like, Psyblades can't hit stuff in the sky. Swords don't have that kind of range. Okay, and that is a short video on the Zealot. I hope you learned something. As mentioned, we will be doing videos for all the other units and buildings. You see a brief introduction guide. Yeah, you guys can do better. Okay, if you like this video, do like and subscribe. I'll be continuing this guide every day.